Hey, beautiful people. It is Lisa coming to you from the beautiful state of Georgia on a wonderful spring day. It's been a long winter. Obviously, down here in the south, not as harsh as some of you guys experience. And I'm coming on today to tell you a little bit about me and how I got to where I am and what I'm going to share with you, with my future content. So, I was born in March. My birthday's in a few days. I'm a Pisces, which is you'll learn more about why that's important at the end of this video, because it's a water sign. And this video has to do with water. And that's all I'm going to tell you. But growing up, I was a massage. I would, give a massage to my aunt and maybe other family members, and they would say things like, "Oh, you'd make a great masseuse," and I sort of said, "Ah, thanks." And then, as I grew up, had my family, went into the workforce, I ended up working for doctors, and I would massage my coworkers' shoulders and things like that, and they would say the same thing. They would say, "You should be a massage therapist." So eventually, once I was disenchanted enough with the medical field, after 10 or so years of working there as an administrator, I went to massage school. And something happened there that changed my life. I was in a nutrition class of all places, and I learned how tyrannical the government is, especially, and how it was relative to that class and in that field was how they want to mandate things that you may not want to have, and they have prohibited things that are healthy for you, and to the point of putting people in cages for life sentences, even for sharing it, and putting people in cages for possessing it. So the government causes problems. They do not solve problems. They do not care about you, and it's obvious to me they don't care about your health, because if that were the case, they wouldn't mandate toxins and they wouldn't prohibit helpful substances. So after I graduated from massage school, I became a teacher's assistant, which was awesome. I also was a student clinic supervisor. I met a lot of people doing that. A lot of very intelligent, kind, loving, gentle people. And I made friends with some of them. And I was venting one day to one of these friends about all the injustices that go on in the world, and how government's to blame. And I guess she was just fed up with me. And she looked me straight in the eye and she said, "What are you going to do about it?" And at that moment, I felt convicted. I felt like I need to put my money where my mouth is, or shut up already. And so that's when I looked into what can I do about it. And I decided to become a delegate in the convention process. And there was a guy running, you may have heard of him. And actually, this is the man whose name I heard in nutrition class when we were talking about that. It was suggested to me that if I care about my health freedom, then I should check out this man. His name is Ron Paul. And so I did check him out, and I did get involved in trying to get him the nomination for president. And during that process, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about these lobbyists who fight over certain topics, and they get paid to fight over these topics. And if the issues get solved, even if everything they wanted or say they wanted got solved through government and their lobbying efforts, they would be out of jobs. So in actuality, they don't really want the thing to be solved because then their paycheck would go away. That was a real stinger there. That one really threw me for a loop. But that's just one example of how it's a racket, the whole thing. And not to mention how the party treated the people who they didn't want in, and the guy I was looking, they specifically targeted the people who were trying to be delegates for Ron Paul and treated them horribly and cheated. They straight cheated. So, and then I became an activist for different things. And what I've learned, and has been reiterated over and over and over again, that if you're expecting someone else to take care of your health or any of your personal matters, especially when they make money off of you being sick, like the medical industrial complex does, then you're going to be sorely disappointed. You're going to stay sick. One of the things I've learned in my massage school, we have to get continuing ed every 2 years to remain licensed. And I was at a class, a continuing ed class, and the teacher of it said this word that I had never heard before, and you probably haven't either. Most people haven't. And it's called iatrogenics. And iatrogenics is a word that means harm caused by medicine or therapies in the medical field. It comes from Greek. You can look it up. Some definitions include medical error, but truly iatrogenics does not include medical error or medical malpractice. That is a whole other category. So people go into the doctor, getting treated, following all the guidelines of what the doctor says, have harm caused to them. That is iatrogenics. Now, if you've watched television or heard on the radio or any of your streaming ads where they try to sell prescription meds or even over-the-counter meds, at the end they talk really fast and say a lot of things that could come to pass if you use this therapy or treatment. That's iatrogenics. Well, what I also found out that day in that class was iatrogenics is the third leading cause of death in America. Now, iatrogenics doesn't have to be death. It can be diarrhea or bloating or cancer or pneumonia, depending on what it is that you're using. So iatrogenics isn't just death, but iatrogenics is the third leading cause of death in America. So putting your health in the hands of a business model that requires you to be sick for them to profit, and that is the third leading cause of death in America, may not be the best choice. So, what is a person to do? Take your health into your own hands. That's what you do. And also, part of what I'm trying to do with my life, and hopefully to help you do the same, is to have freedom, not only with your health, but imagine you go to the doctor, they give you a pill, it's covered by insurance, so you don't have to pay as much for it, and there's an alternative treatment. But let's say your insurance doesn't cover that, and it isn't as inexpensive, mainly because insurance doesn't cover it. Now, you have a choice to make. Maybe you have a choice. Maybe you have enough money and time to cover the alternate treatment. Maybe you don't. But if you have more money, you have more options with regard to your health. Money and freedom are linked. Freedom means choice. And the more money you have, the more choices you have. Therefore, the more money you have, the more freedom you have. There are, I mean, even if a treatment you want to get is banned here in the States, if you have enough money, you could travel abroad to get that treatment. And you don't have to worry about being locked up for making the choices that you want to make about your health. Now, most people work a job and they trade their time or services. And in my case, as a massage therapist, I trade both. I trade both time and services for money. A lot of people any job really, you're trading services, unless you just have to be there, then you're just trading your time. But to me, job is a 4-letter word. Job is a dirty word. It's a racket. Jobs are a racket because you only have a finite amount of time. It is your most precious commodity. You can always get money back. You can replace your things, you can replace your money, but you can't ever get your time back. So how much is an hour really worth? When you add up all the hours you have in your life, is it really worth minimum wage? Is it really worth $50 or $100 an hour when you know you can never ever get it back? So what I've been trying to find and working towards is a way to leverage my time and the efforts of others as well as myself to make money. So if you can get into a situation where you don't have to trade time for money, then and you have steady streams of income anyway, in spite of the fact that you're not trading time for money, then that's going to be a better situation than if you are trading time for money. I mean, right now I just had to pause the video twice because of the neighborhood where I live and the traffic. One of my goals is to be so far off grid that I don't hear a vehicle for weeks passing by. So, and that obnoxious reverse beep, so annoying. But that's part of life right now. So back to taking matters of health. I mean, they kind of go hand in hand, having your health in your control, and also having the way you make money in your control. What I found after having worked in medical doctors' offices for years and being a massage therapist for almost 2 decades now, so I've been in the healthcare industry in some capacity or other since the mid-90s. And I've learned a lot. I've literally seen doctors yell at patients. Well, maybe one. I've seen it one time. But the amount of apathy, it wasn't just one time. And so I was working for a neurosurgical group, and this doctor was yelling at the patient that they were going to go blind if they didn't have the surgery. And I'm sure that patient was wanting a second opinion or going to try a different alternative than undergoing brain surgery, with, the risks involved in someone cutting you open. And even before that, going under anesthesia. I also work for an anesthesia group. You're like this close to being dead when you're under general anesthesia. And I was told by one of the people I work with, a CRNA at that practice, that most of the time when people die in surgery, it is because of anesthesia. And I remember right before I left there, all doctors groups have what they call M&M meetings, and this group had an M&M meeting every month. And what that stands for is morbidity and mortality. And so I would have to this one lady had a gastric bypass a week before Christmas on December 18th. And every month after that, until I left, I was pulling her chart to give them. So, that they didn't say, oh, this patient died because of our mess up. But, I mean, it was like, it's not hard to put those 2 and 2 together if you have 2 brain cells to rub together. So the point is, And with it being the third leading cause of death, that's not my stat. That's a stat from Harvard. Harvard did a study in 2016, so you can look all that up. And I may even link it here in the description. But it's dangerous. It's expensive. It limits your choices when you go through the medical industrial complex. Now, having said all that, if you want to take control of your life and your health specifically, there are options. And right now, what I'm doing is I just got I don't know if you've heard of this Kangen water, ionized water, and it has extra hydrogen in it. And there are reasons why hydrogen is so good, and I'll save that for another video. But I decided that my friend was right. I need to do what I can about it, and so what I've learned is petitioning government is not going to help my health. It's not going to help your health, because they're going to do what their donors want them to do, and their donors are Big Pharma, and they have way more money to give them than you do, so they're going to be beholden to them. That's just you can go and lobby your congressman or your legislatures, whatever, and you'll see. Or you can take my word for it on that. And so water is necessary for life. You can go several days without eating. You can fast for 30 days or whatever, but you can't go more than 3 days without water. So it is basic to life. And again, back to government, the way they pollute it, they only, if they're reclaiming water and putting it back out there in the city and all that stuff, they may be treating it, but they're not getting everything that can be a contaminant out of it. And it's important. The reason why Kangen water works is because the molecules of water can be configured in different ways, and your body can only accept it and assimilate it in a certain way. And so if you drink it in a way that the body can't assimile it, the body has to rearrange the molecules of the water in order to be absorbable by the body. So it's having to do extra work. If you give your body water that it doesn't have to reconfigure, then it's doing less work, so you're going to have more energy. And you're also going to stay hydrated. It's very important to stay hydrated. And a lot of people don't understand this. And they may grab a plastic bottle of water. I know people who go through cases and cases of plastic bottled water, or it's not plastic water, but it's bottled in plastic bottles every month. Case after case every month. And what happens is you get all these, and this is something that's new that most people have never heard of, and it hasn't ever been an issue before that has been talked about, is people are getting microplastics in their bodies, and apparently there's no way to get that out. And I've heard recently that people nowadays consume a credit card's worth. So it's like eating a credit card every week or every month. I don't remember the statistic. Maybe I'll correct it in the. I'll look it up again after this video, and I'll tell you in the comments whether it's a week or every month. I think it's every week. Every week people are consuming a credit card's worth of plastic. That's not good for you. That is something that could be completely taken out of the equation if we would let hemp be used for plastic and other things and fuel. We wouldn't have to drill for oil, and we wouldn't have to frack for gas if we were to allow hemp. And again, who has made it so you can't use hemp for those things? Government, at the behest of their sponsors. So I could talk for days and days about how awful government is and how ridiculous and pointless it is to try to get them to do anything for you. But what I'm here to do instead is empower you to take action and empower yourself and improve your health and your life and your finances. So my path has led me to this water ionizer company. I'm absolutely thrilled to be there. One of the things that happened during my political journey was that I made some awesome friends. Not everybody in politics is great. Most people are super smarmy and super in it for themselves. They look at joining a political party as a way to network and get business. They don't care about freedom. They don't care about what's right. They care about making money. And that's not everybody. I'm not saying that it's everybody, but a lot of them. So the good people that you want to have close to you are few and far between. However, the ones that friends I've met in politics are solid. They stand on principles even when it's not comfortable. And the reason I'm telling you this is because one of my friends that I met in politics sent me to a conference about health. And what do we do? What are the steps that we can do to empower ourselves? Because obviously government is not going to help us with our health and our lives and our finances. And while I was at this conference, my friend Catherine gave me this pass to this conference. It was a VIP fat pass. I had all access to everything. It was awesome. And I learned a lot there. And my biggest takeaway was I met this lady named Louise. And she is super cool. She has great energy, and she's really smart and vivacious and very passionate about health and wellness and freedom. And she's an off-gridder, and she has put her time and energy into building a business that has allowed her to bring her husband home from work. And so they get to he was in the military, so they would go long stretches without seeing him. She and their kids. And they were able for him to quit that job and stay home. So they're all together all the time. She homeschools. I mean, she's living the life. And although I had heard about Kangen water and wanted to get into it because the water tastes great. I had a client whose husband was really into that, and I would get water from them. I do outcalls, so I would go to their house, and every time I'd bring a few gallon jugs to fill up my tank from their Kangen water, and he was just thrilled that I was doing that. And he told me he worked a lot too, and so I hardly ever saw him. He traveled, so whenever I was there, he wasn't. But occasionally, on some visits, he was there. And when he found out I was getting that water, he was thrilled. And he told me that drinking the water helped his receding gum line. So that was one testimony. And there are so many more. So it was on my radar for a while. And I was just tickled when I met Louise. She had a booth. They have at these conferences, they have speakers and they have breakout meetings and they have vendors, the whole vendor section where people who are, talking about health and whatever they can do for you and turn you on to about how to take better care of your health and empower yourself so that you're not relying on these systems that kill you and relying on these systems that are the third leading cause of death and that are more beholden to their donors than they are the patients and their customers, and to take away the necessity to even go there. And so when I met her, I was really glad to meet her, and we have become friends over the years. And I finally have been able to get into the business. I got my Kangen machine all set up yesterday. The water's delicious. I mean, if you try it, as soon as you put it in your mouth, it feels different. It feels so smooth, and it has no taste, no smell, and it goes in and you just feel great about drinking it. And so I just wanted to come on here and tell you about this and let you know that if you're sick, you don't have to resolve yourself to only what is available in the mainstream. You can branch out and seek out alternative healing for yourself. And one of the ways to do that is to get even if you don't have the ability to get a machine right now, find someone. There are gyms, There are churches. I've heard of churches where you can go. Some of them are free, and some of them, I've heard of gyms like you pay a monthly subscription fee. I don't think they call it a subscription fee, but whatever. You pay every month a certain amount, a nominal amount, and you can go fill up your water jug with Kangen water. I mean, it's a great way to, I've heard of chiropractors doing this. Even I saw that Louise knows a pharmacist, a compounding pharmacist, who does that for his customers. He lets them just come and get the water because it is so helpful. And you will see so many changes in your health when you are being able to drink good, clean, clear water with extra hydrogen in it. And obviously that doesn't sound, the whole idea. We all know that a water molecule is H2O. That's 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. So the idea of adding more hydrogen to it, you would think would make it a different substance. Y'all hear all this noise? It's been 2 sirens, a helicopter, a school bus. So my goal, and y'all can follow me, I'm going to be on a branch. I'm going to be on some land where I don't hear this stuff, and I can sit out here and record in a space where all the noise pollution isn't an issue. Not that I'm complaining. I'm very happy to have a roof over my head, and it's very comfortable. So I'm not complaining about that, but I do have goals and dreams for myself that include being in a place where I can see the stars at night and have silence when I'm trying to film a video for YouTube. So I'm here to empower you and about the hydrogen in the water. H2O is water. I'm not sure exactly how it works. It reconfigures the molecules and adds extra hydrogen. And if you are interested in finding out more about that, I have resources that I can send you. You can comment hydrogen water in the comments, and I will definitely send you a link to more about that so you can understand that a little bit better. Like I said, I'm super new to this, and I don't have the science down, and I'm not going to try to explain it to you. But because I can't explain something I don't know. So, but I do know that people have had great results using this water. I know that I love the way it tastes, and I'm thrilled to have my machine up and running and an opportunity to change my financial footprint and build a legacy income for my children so they can have more in their lives. And my grandchildren, I have 2 so far. And so I hope that this has been an interesting video for you and an educational one. If you want more information, please say more information. If you want the hydrogen video, say hydrogen water. And please like and subscribe, and even share. If you know anybody who is familiar with this, or you think needs to become familiar with this type of way of taking care of their health, please share this video with them. And until next time, I will see you, and I hope that you live happy, healthy, and free.